What is going on, everyone? My name's Jeffrey.
My name's Cody, and this is the Audible Sportscast.
All right. With us again, we have Brett coming back, joining
Hey,
us.
thanks for having me again.
Sunday's come and gone. We have football games to talk about. It's been a pretty good week, too. So, first off, let's talk about the Thursday night football game, Giants Washington. What do you guys think about that game? Seemed like an ugly game, and what do you
I
guys
don't
Here's
think?
think it was an ugly game.
a,
I
here's a
think it was more
question.
enjoyable than seemed like it was going to be, I guess.
Here's a question for both of you. Is Heineke for real?
Um, yeah, I think he is. That's a good secondary, so
Oh
I'm
yeah,
starting to think he is too.
yeah, I've been really overcritical, but I think he's the real deal now.
I don't know why they even bothered starting Fitzpatrick. He played really good last year. Took him to the playoffs.
Oh, if he comes back, he's done. It's gonna be Heineke.
oh yeah. Like
I
what?
mean,
Third?
just reviewing the stats, he went 34 for 46, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick.
In only his third ever
Yep.
start in the NFL too. Like he was an XFL backup before
I mean,
getting a real
and one
chance.
could argue he doesn't have the greatest supporting cast. They're okay.
I mean that the team has weapons. I mean, right now they don't have Curtis Samuel, but I mean Terry McLaurin
No, I
has
know. I
been.
like McLaurin. I'm just saying, does McLaurin. I struggle with bad teams and the number one receivers like McLaurin because if you put them on a good team, are they good? With other good receivers, do they do this? I don't know. Because it's kind of like when you see a basketball. I use NBA as a reference. Crappy teams. I use the Bucks. Michael Redd. Was he really that good? I never thought so. He was just on a really bad Bucks team. That's kind of how I look at things. Bad teams get better stats sometimes.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on Terry McLaurin as the kind of season progresses and what teams
Yeah,
kind of
that's just my
defenses
opinion.
do to try to dictate to him and see if the weapons like Logan Thomas and the rookie Dynami Brown and Antonio Gibson what they can do to kind of step up and take charge.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see
Yeah,
with Riverboat Ron.
but that was Thursday night. So let's look at some of these Sunday games. Bears Bengals. Let's start it off. Andy Dalton gets hurt a little before halftime. Justin Fields comes in. What do you guys think of the game?
Justin Fields, um, hasn't really had his reps, so he didn't really look. He kind of got shut down. He wasn't really that explosive player he's supposed to be, but that's just because of lack of reps.
He
So
did
I
win the
think
game
he's,
with that explosiveness, though. In theory,
you know,
Oh yeah,
well, that defense helped a lot, so
and also
we'll have to
didn't there at the
see.
end, but yeah, definitely. Like you just
Oh,
can
it definitely
tell.
did.
Yeah, those three straight interceptions on Joe Burrow definitely helped.
That's
oh
definitely
yeah.
a factor.
But yeah, you can just tell there were some issues that once they practice a little bit more that will definitely kind of go away because there's some he made some really nice throws, from some real nice deep throws and just whether they were dropped or just they weren't expected to be that good, they just stuff that will be easily cut down and I think
Well, he
Fields.
didn't look limited at all, like on play
Oh
calls.
no.
Looked like he had wide open
I mean,
calls.
comparing what he did, what Fields kind of did versus what they kind of let Mitch do last year, there's definitely there was a big
Yeah, they
difference.
pulled back with Mitch, and I don't think Fields had any. They just let him fly.
Oh yeah, I would like to not maybe see him throw that interception, but he's been saying really good things about just working and I
I'll be honest. I think the Bengals are gonna keep progressing with Burrow, though. I think they're a pretty good team, and they're gonna get better.
oh yeah
They're
Yeah.
young. I like their defense is young. They were smart and they dumped all the old guys and just want to start young. Like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
Geno
getting
Atkins.
Bengals. Yeah, the Bengals and the Vikings are like the same exact team in my book.
Yeah,
Just
I see the
What do you mean by
comparisons
that?
a lot.
um, well, you see the Vikings like barely losing week 1 and 2, and then uh, Bengals doing the same. They got like I'd say the Bengals actually have a little more talent, to be honest, but um, they're pretty similar in my book.
I just think the Bengals are just young. They need time. Where, like, I look at the Vikings and Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins, and he always will be.
Yeah,
And the Vikings, in theory, have more progressed talent right now. They should be winning. The Bengals are still rebuilding in a way. They're okay with that. Burrow's okay with that. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, you know,
They're
maybe
not rushing. They're not sorry. They're not rushing him to win. If he wins, great. They're not like putting that pressure like they did on all the other players, like Andy Dalton before him, all the other quarterbacks they had. Seems like they're treating him different.
let them get a
yeah,
couple more pieces on that offensive line, and yeah, that team can be really good and will definitely compete in the not just the AFC North but the entire AFC here in what maybe not even 2 years. Give them another year even.
See how they draft and stuff. Yeah.
Maybe even now. Who knows? Let's move on to the next game. You got Texans Browns. Tyrod Taylor early on looking like he was going to lead a underdog game, gets hurt, and Browns end up winning.
um, proves Tyrod Taylor is the heart and soul of that team.
He's Tyrod Taylor. He seems like he always done that. He's always been a decent quarterback. I wouldn't say great, just decent.
He's a very smart quarterback. It's
Yeah.
just he has the worst luck of
Oh
all
yeah.
quarterbacks.
I
It's
mean, in theory,
sad,
the
but
Texans have so many weapons.
No.
You know, Philip
yeah,
Lindsay, Cooks, Ingram, Amendola. You know, even David Johnson too.
yeah. What now they have that quarterback from what did he go Stanford?
Stanford drafted
What,
him in
Mills?
Yeah,
David Mills.
yeah. He's getting thrown into a mess, and I
It's
didn't get
not
to
good for
see him
quarterbacks
play,
like that.
so no. A very low prospect. He's it's not gonna work out. How's Baker though? I know he went down hurt.
He ended up, coming back. He looked really good. He ended up, I think, on his first. I don't know if it was his first drive back. One of his early drives, he ended up having a rushing touchdown, and
I mean, he was 19 for 21, so he passed pretty well. So, and he
He's
had an
progressed.
interception. Yeah, he's just they've covered him with weapons. If you think about it, they just filled that offense.
plus Odell is projected to come back next week. It'll be kind of interesting to see how that molds when he comes back.
I
Yeah,
just
that's
like
true.
Baker because he takes a lot of accountability, and
Oh yeah.
it's shown throughout the years.
I agree. I
He's come
think
a
people
long way.
expected him to be like Johnny. I don't know why. They just did.
Oh yeah.
So they expected him to fail on his own and screw up and be stupid, but he didn't.
Yeah. Not to
Very
mention he
true.
has probably some of the best commercials out there right now.
Yep.
But let's move on to another game. One we actually have some, first person inside scoops on. The Rams Colts. How was the game?
Oh my god. Um, you know what? It actually started off really good. Isaiah Rodgers got a long kickoff return all the way to the 45. They brought it all the way down to the 2 yard line. No, the 1 yard line. And Frank Reich is a moron and turned over on downs. Tried running it up the middle 3 times. Jonathan Taylor, and then he did a option pass. Yeah, that doesn't fool a defense like the Rams, and they sacked Wentz. He didn't even have a chance. Rams go down to score, and yeah, it actually turned into a better game though. Colts came back, tied it up at 24, and then Rams kicked a field goal, and the Colts are going down or Colts got the ball back, and the drive before Wentz hurt both of his ankles. Jacob Eason comes in, who's a not very experienced quarterback, throws a pick, and it's game over. Colts played a lot better than I thought, but
I mean, they were winning from part of that game. They just couldn't
They
hold
were.
the lead.
Yeah. They came back, and then that O line just doesn't play for how much that O line is paid. They haven't been playing.
If the Colts get to 0-5, they should tank because they don't
They
use
have a
Taylor
good
right.
chance.
I like Pittman, but I don't. And Pascal's coming along, but Taylor's just not. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's from Wisconsin. I don't know.
I mean, this is what they're kind of saying early last year too about Jonathan Taylor, and then ended up bouncing back, having a really good season late.
He's a Wisconsin running back, and I can say that
All
because
right,
I live in Wisconsin. But they never translate into the NFL very well.
The thing is
Rarely.
with this team is Frank Reich is the worst coach in the red zone. The Colts turned it over 3 times in the end zone. 3 times.
You can't have that if you want to win.
No. He's the reason why they lost against the Seahawks. So I'd like to see a new head coach.
But who?
Good question.
Who knows? Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe in a couple weeks here we'll be able to answer that question.
Yep.
But Rams, they looked pretty explosive too. It looked like they looked like they could score whenever they wanted to, at least. I don't know.
Not until the end.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Cooper Kupp went off, but
I mean, Wentz played good though. That's what I'm gonna say for the Colts. Wentz, impressed me.
I am very impressed with him.
I had low hopes for him. Very low.
For how bad he gets abused behind the line, he keeps his calm and just gets up. Like, never yells at his O line. Like, just gets up.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's why a lot of people compare him to Andrew Luck.
That's a pretty good comparison, I feel like.
Well, like character-wise, I'd rather have Andrew Luck's talent, but
except
I'm
Andrew
impressed
Luck wasn't afraid of Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Very true.
Let's move on to another quarterback injury game. Bills Dolphins. Tua gets hurt early, and it turns into a blowout, 35-0.
Would it have mattered?
No.
No.
I called the Bills to win by at least 2 touchdowns. So.
Well, 35 points is definitely at least 2 touchdowns.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't matter.
With the guy who likes the Colts, or watches the Colts here, both of you actually, and Brissett, what he can do. Brissett's not a bad quarterback, so
he's a quality backup.
Correct. Yeah.
He's not much more than a quality backup.
That's fine. I'm good with that.
But
he's in my opinion a slow Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. That's
quality backup.
His arm's better than Taysom Hill, though.
Yes.
That's kind of how they used him last year too. He would just come in to run or something. That's situations.
Exactly what they used him for.
But hopefully, Tua is okay. I never saw kind of reports today on how he's doing, but hopefully, he comes back and Dolphins win some games. But that Bills team looks pretty good. I mean, that run game was doing some things that, a lot that were questioned if they could, and just overall it was a really good game.
I mean, hey, Mitch had negative -2 yards rushing.
As a Bears fan, don't know how to feel about that one.
Bring that stat up.
But let's look at another AFC East game that had no injury quarterbacks, but some not so good injury play with Zach Wilson throwing 4 interceptions. But the Patriots-Jets.
I told you he's not the real deal.
Yeah, it was looking like
Who's he passing to, though? That's the key.
He's seeing the Sam Darnold ghost.
His number 1 receiver was Braxton Berrios. That tells you something right there.
He's seeing ghosts. There's not much to it. Against the Pats, that's when Sam Darnold saw the ghost, too.
I think he's seeing receivers that don't run good routes.
I mean...
But I could be being nice right now.
What's his name? God dang it.
Elijah Moore?
Elijah Moore, yeah.
From Ole Miss.
I expected him to be so good, and I haven't. To be honest, I haven't seen a Jets game. I didn't watch this game because he was playing when I was at the Colts game, but I tried my best to keep up. But Elijah Moore, I thought he was the best receiver coming out of the draft. I thought that he was getting slept on big time, but I don't know.
I mean, it's still an early season. I mean, look back at, last year, Justin Jefferson wasn't even starting till week 3 for the Vikings.
That's true.
So,
I guess, yeah.
Who knows
But
what
Elijah
can happen.
Moore is getting his reps.
Yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like maybe Wilson's forcing a lot, knowing that there isn't a lot around him. It could be some jitters.
He's been known. He's been known to get rid of the ball way too fast, and like really, really fast.
And that's a big sign of scared. That Jets offensive line, of course, isn't good. They lost Mekhi Becton week 1, going against a really good Patriots defense. He's definitely seen some ghosts.
It's the Jets.
They're cursed. Sorry, Jets fans.
Oh well, they're not listening to this because they don't exist.
Very few.
But let's move on to a game that both fan bases have lots of fans. The 49ers and Eagles. That looked like a very, defensive, low-scoring game.
Eagles are the real deal. I know they didn't win, but
Jalen Hurts has impressed me a lot so far with these last 2 games.
Yeah. I think he's just had a lot of good reps. He's more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And
I mean, I don't... There's not much I like about the 49ers, to be fair. I just don't... I feel like... I mean, they somehow pull these games out, but I don't think they're that good. Everyone puts them so high and says they're good. There's not much they do for me.
They were at the beginning or before the season started, but shoot, they've already had 3 major injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, I know, but they're one of those teams that I just don't see. I don't think they have the talent to get past a wild card or second round, even a second round berth. I don't think they get out of that. There's too many good teams in the NFC.
Is that with Jimmy G as their quarterback or Trey Lance?
It doesn't matter.
You don't.
They don't have that. The roster doesn't have enough talent.
I'm kind of biased with Garoppolo because I like him, but I don't know.
He's not. I put Garoppolo in the same category as Wentz right now. They're in the same ballpark for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, and in theory, being a Bears fan, none of our quarterbacks are even that high right now. So,
or ever been, maybe.
Rex Grossman, maybe.
Oh God.
He played for like 20 years.
As like a third string.
Sexy Rexy, come on.
Rex
He made it to Super Bowl.
True. I mean, but he was so bad that the Redskins or Washington football team, whatever you want to call them,
They're the Redskins at the time.
He was a backup there for a long time.
He must have been so bad they ended up drafting 2 quarterbacks in one draft, because he was pretty much their one quarterback on the team, and they went out and drafted
He was just a
RG3 and
coach.
Kirk Cousins.
All right, he was like an assistant coach. But we should get moving here. Let's go to the Falcons game. Falcons Buccaneers.
Falcons Buccaneers.
Okay, so I was watching this game, my hotel, and Falcons were coming back. I was like, oh my God. And then, what was it? Matt Ryan threw a pick, and then pick 6. They throw another pick 6 after that.
Yeah, Mike Edwards ended up grabbing both of those pick 6s.
Yeah. So I was like, never mind, turn it off.
If you're Atlanta, when do you bench Ryan?
That's a good question. I don't...
Because here, let's look at from this perspective. Matt Ryan and Cordell Patterson were their leading stat guys. They're ancient. What are they doing? I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, Kyle Pitts looked a lot better than, week 1.
Yeah.
He showed out.
Calvin Ridley was okay. But I feel like if you were on the Falcons, your want to win, it's like, we have Matt Ryan. This sucks. Kinda.
I'm I'm so disappointed that Ridley is not getting the attention. It's just
Well, I think everyone expected him to fill Julio's shoes, and I don't know if he can do that.
yeah, I thought the same to be honest, but
I've
it's
been
not
pretty high
looking
on
like
him.
it.
But could it be Matt Ryan's fault? That's where I'm leaning on all of it.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Because if I
maybe.
was a young guy in their locker room, sorry, Jeff,
No, you're good.
I don't think I mean, yeah, I would respect Matt Ryan for what he's done in the NFL, but I don't think I would be having that much fun because the expectations, if I watched them before I joined the team, would be like, oh, it's the same old stuff, year after year after year, pretty much.
Yeah, ever since that Super Bowl, they
Yeah,
just haven't.
should know better. He should know better than to throw two pick six or
He's had
two
his time.
picks
He had
like
his
that
chance,
in a row.
and I think it's
He
over
did.
for him.
It's over.
Good quarterback. Just there's plenty of good quarterbacks who don't win Super Bowls. So
Philip Rivers, he he had a hell of a career, and then nothing to really, other than stats, nothing to show for it.
I mean, the thing he
No
was
old
good at was
kids.
making babies.
Yeah, his wife's happy or not with all his kids.
Let's move on to probably, I'd say, the most surprising game of the week: Saints Panthers.
Yeah, this was a shocking game.
That is that
It
Panthers.
was it was shocking in the moment, and after it's like, okay, maybe the Panthers are something because that defense
Oh yeah.
they took shoot, what's his name from South Carolina?
Um, J.C. Horn.
Yes, my favorite corner out of the draft. They have him, and then they just
Now, if they
that
could just get
defense is
someone out of retirement on that defense, then I would believe they are for real.
I mean, they've been stockpiling defensive players the last few drafts. I mean, they Brian Burns a couple years ago, who's been playing really good. They're the defensive tackle, who's
Yeah, I know.
name, but yeah, they've been making that defense pretty good the last couple years in the draft, and now it's finally kind of showing. You know, they made Jameis Winston, who had a really good game against the Packers, all of a sudden looked like he didn't get that LASIK eye surgery.
Or the Packers' defense is that bad.
Well, I guess we'll find out when they play the
I
Lions.
think it is.
But
if he's the real deal, you don't mess up that bad.
oh yeah.
That is bad. That was bad. Horrible performance.
Well, here's a question: was it because of Winston, or just he finally plays a pretty good defense, and the fact they don't have a true number one wide receiver?
Or maybe they didn't take the Panthers seriously. I think that might be it too.
Yeah, that I feel like that could have some to do with it.
When you
That's a
have
horrible
someone like
excuse. So
Oh
I
yeah,
know,
the
but a lot of players I would look at, oh, it's just Sam Darnold, no big deal.
yeah. Well, I was more saying of the receivers part because look at Rivers last year.
true, true.
Like the Colts receiving room is it's a little better now since like Paris Campbell's back. Well, he didn't play last game, but very mediocre receiver room, and he had an all right season, very surprisingly. But
Well, if you were a Packer fan, you would say, well, you got to make receivers.
Yeah,
or a Pats fan.
True.
but we'll see. It'll definitely be interesting to see how both those teams move throughout the rest of the season. But let's look at the Broncos Jaguars game. Um,
Trevor Lawrence, I knew he was overrated. I don't know.
He's destined to
I
fail.
oh yeah,
yeah. I just I never I knew he wasn't going to be good coming in to NFL. I just I know it's the Jags, but come on, man.
I kind of feel bad for him because Urban Meyer's going to leave after this year, go back to college.
if he even makes it after the end of the year.
Yep. He makes more money in college than he does in the pros, anyways. And you get free houses from the booster clubs and stuff.
It's just a horrible
NFL is a
situation.
different game.
He might be a great college. Sometimes I just like Saban. There's a reason Saban doesn't even attempt it. he wasn't that good. I mean, Pete Carroll, it took him 2 tries.
Same goes for college players sometimes. Great
Mm-hmm.
historic college players. Colt McCoy comes to the league. Crap.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a decent backup, but that's about it.
Yep. I mean, I
Tim
think that
Tebow.
the Jags just don't like. If you look at the pieces he has, I just don't. There's not like if you look at who Trevor Lawrence is throwing to, for one, and I can, there's nobody that I mean, you could go DJ Shark, or Chark, Marvin Jones, but Marvin Jones to me is a second, third receiver, not a number one.
He's pretty
I
talented.
I like him. I just don't think he's a number. He's not a. Would you say he's as good as Allen Robinson?
Oh no.
See, that's what I mean. Like you have to, because I don't, just think if he's not a top 15 receiver, top 20, that's kind of what Trevor Lawrence should have, a veteran presence like that. But they don't have any of that. It's just kind of a,
Yeah.
and you have the pressure of being, the best quarterback too.
Yeah. I mean, Chenault has the potential, but it's all speculation. I don't know. I don't see it, but a lot of
It's hard to
experts
tell
think
when
so.
it's the quarterback or the coaching. Sometimes, especially when they're
Yeah.
young.
I mean, look at Darnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, different coaching
Working
now. He's
with
playing decent. Yep.
Yeah. Playing like an actual.
You could say, how about Teddy Bridgewater
True. Teddy Bridgewater's
Yeah.
been playing really good.
and Jamal Williams?
But
I mean, that's not a game that, unfortunately, I don't consider either of those teams contenders. So the Broncos being 2-0, that's wonderful.
Well, like the Broncos have the easiest first half. Like the first half of their schedule is so easy. It is
Yep.
stupid easy. What they play, who they play next? They play somebody, and then the
Yeah.
Giants, and I can't remember.
it might be the Jets.
It is the Jets.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought them were in there, but yeah, it's
Stupid easy.
which I mean with a new quarterback and whatnot, maybe you need that to boost your team to maybe perform a lot better against these some of these better teams like Kansas City, but guess we'll have to wait and see. But a team that is looking pretty good in these first 2 games, Raiders Steelers.
Yes, the Raiders are the real deal. I they can beat Kansas City. I fully believe it. That defense is shockingly good. Derek Carr, he's the most slept on quarterback. I have a Raiders fan. He's very biased for the Raiders, but I agree with him. He's crazy accurate. What against the Steelers, he was 79%.
Oh yeah, and he was
I
slinging
mean,
that ball.
when you have, I mean, Ruggs is for real, obviously, and they have Waller, and he's a monster.
Oh, he's crazy.
And you think about him, and you're not even getting him in his prime. He's a little bit older, past his prime. You know what I mean? Because he had issues. So
Off the crack or whatever he took.
Yep. whatever addiction problem he had, I'm not quite sure. Didn't read. I've seen articles, but the fact that he's in his late 20s now, he missed. So think about how good he could have been, and he's this good now. So that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
I
that
mean, there's
defense has been vastly improved. Max Crosby's looking like an arguably defensive player of the year. That I was not expecting that Raiders team to be this good early on. I mean, I knew they'd be good.
Granted, Raiders teams are always good in the first. In recent history, they're always good first half, and then cliff.
Yeah. Well, the other question
This
is
year-
there's not much to say about Pittsburgh. Sorry, Cody.
Oh, you're good.
I don't know. I don't have anything good to say.
About that offense, no. The defense, they had a good amount of injuries yesterday, so.
Yeah, when T.J. Watt went down, it's almost like that team kind of.
Well, they're missing 3 others too,
Yeah.
weren't they? I can't give any names.
I'm not sure the names, but yeah, a couple, 1 or 2 other key defense players went down.
As much as I like Tomlin, when Big Ben goes, they need to cut ties with him too. They need a fresh start. Completely just clean slate. I think it's time. It just is. Sometimes that just needs to happen. Obviously,
When
I'm from the
Roethlis-
outside perspective.
When Roethlisberger goes, the Steelers are screwed. I know he's not good, but look what they have behind
no
him.
prospects.
No, they don't. They're screwed.
Living and dying with Big Ben.
Hopefully they get themselves a rookie quarterback here soon that they can pair with Najee Harris, because Najee Harris, he looked pretty good.
He does all right.
He looked pretty good Sunday.
Yeah, as a receiving back.
I mean, that was kind of what made him a little special coming out of Alabama. We knew how physical and good of a runner he was, but he was also really good coming out of the backfield catching the ball. But
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't stand a chance behind that line trying to rush.
Nope.
it's going to be a big question mark for the Steelers what they can do the rest of the season. But let's look at the probable. It was a pretty good game. The Vikings-Cardinals.
I feel for the Vikings fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Still not sold on either team.
I'm sold more on the Cardinals than the Vikings, but Kyler needs to quit making those stupid mistakes. That's
And it's hard for me
Really
to give him. It's hard for me to. On some quarterbacks, like I'll give Trevor Lawrence more, or even Darnold more, because they have to change offenses. Well, this is his offense from college,
Yeah.
and his coach, so there isn't getting used to a playbook, any of that stuff. You can't use those excuses with me. At least that's my opinion, because that offense is completely tailored to him from his coach.
and yeah, like the last couple seasons, his second half, he's plays real stupid. So starting that crap this early, it's not a good sign.
Not in that
But
division,
he's-
at least.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, he still put up the fantasy numbers. He got like 34, 35.
You put him in the
Cool.
NFC East, he probably is
It's probably an
Oh,
MVP.
God.
instant Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He is crazy talented though. Throwing,
Oh,
yeah.
he literally jump, throw it on his back foot like dime, like.
Yep.
So he just needs to quit making those stupid mistakes that he does. Like, didn't he throw a pick six?
yeah, that
And
pick six that pretty much turned the wheels for the Vikings, because they were starting
Yeah.
to break off.
And Dalvin Cook had a great game.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot,
Everyone
yeah, he had like
on that, all pretty much I would say the big three of the Vikings players, Justin Jefferson, Thielen, and Dalvin
Yep.
Cook, all had pretty good games.
Even Cousins had a good game. No interceptions, shockingly.
I mean, if the Vikings want to, be in games like that, they're gonna have to put up those kind of numbers offensively, because that defense, is still not that good.
It's because he can't figure out his secondary. Zimmer can't. He's been rotating corners for the last couple of years. He just can't find what he likes.
Yeah.
They've been shuffling corners since Terrence Newman was 43 years old there.
Isn't he a defensive minded coach too? Wasn't he a
Yeah.
coordinator?
He was
Defensive
the Bengals
coordinator for
defensive
the Bengals.
coordinator for a while.
That's why I
The
thought it was
Bengals,
funny
yeah.
when you compared those two. I kind of thought that in my head. I was laughing. That's instantly
Yeah,
what I thought.
I see it now. Dang, look at that.
But even that front seven too needs a little help. I mean, other than Danielle Hunter, they don't have much.
Anthony
for a
Barr's a
pass rush.
bust. He's officially a bust in my book
Can you
now.
call him a bust for how long he's been on that team though? And he's played at a pretty good level.
Yeah. It's tough. I don't know. The Vikings, they just have bad luck. I don't know what else to say. They just do.
Oh yeah.
Because if you look at the stat lines on them, they played well. 22 for 32. Kirk Cousins, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 22 carries, 131 yards, 6-yard average.
Oh yeah.
On paper, they should have blown Arizona out when you look at that stuff.
But you can't win on paper.
Nope.
But let's move on to another game. One that was a little lower scoring than I thought. The Cowboys Chargers.
You thought it was going to be higher scoring than that?
Yes, I mean
I
the Cowboys defense has lost some key players. And I just thought it was going to be a lot high scoring. Justin Herbert I thought was going to look pretty good, but that Cowboys defense, even through all it's been through, is looking pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, is it time to cut Zeke if you haven't in fantasy yet?
Well, I don't think they'll let you cut a first
I
or
know.
second round player, but
You know what I mean, though. I don't. We all thought he was going to do well, I think. But.
he still got 93 yards and a touchdown, but Pollard is the better back on that team.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah,
Because he had to work for it. That's why, I think.
Yeah, he's always been a good back, but they obviously gave Zeke like way more carries than him, so he never really got to see a true.
I'm actually surprised he's still on the team considering how much they paid Zeke. I would have traded him away because you got to roll with Zeke with what you paid him.
He's way overpaid.
It's typical for Dallas.
It'll be interesting to see kind of what they do maybe at the end of the season, depending on how that situation unfolds. If they find a way to make it kind of a two-headed running back system there, even with how much they seem to be wanting to pass, but I don't know.
Pollard does it all.
Oh yeah, he's really good. He's super quick and very elusive.
Sees the field.
Oh yeah.
Patient when he needs to be.
We talk about teams on paper. That Dallas offense, it's pretty
Except
good.
the offensive line.
What was that, Brett?
Except the offensive line.
Yeah, they lost Lyle Collins, but Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, other guys are still playing pretty good.
They could be playing better. I don't think they're playing like they should. It's kind of like the Colts. The Colts are an extreme example, though, because they're way worse. But, yeah.
On the other side of the coin, I think that the future's bright for Herbert. I like him. I think he's got some, I don't know, he's just got some growing pains to get through. But
he's a leader.
The Chargers are another team that's, to me, is cursed. So, I don't know. It might be because of Phillip, but not quite sure.
I see the Chargers fighting for second with the Raiders.
Oh yeah,
That's where I think Carr comes in. That's where you have a veteran like Carr, and I think he puts you over that edge for the number 2 spot.
Yeah. The Raiders actually have I know it sounds extreme right now because it's Kansas City, but they're letting these teams play with them, like the Ravens. Lamar threw some
The Raiders
stupid
aren't like
picks.
a stacked team, in my opinion.
No,
they
they
go out
aren't.
and spend a bunch of money. They're just building from within.
Which I love.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see how the Chargers do this year. Their head coach Brandon Staley. It's the first time he's ever been a head coach at any level. He's the defensive coordinator from the Rams last year. But that's a situation where later
He won't last because I don't think you can get. I find it when you look at teams like the Rams. They have so much talent on that defense that, just in a couple spots that can make a defensive coordinator look amazing. Just Ramsey and Donald, just those two alone.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Chargers and the rest of the AFC West kind of move forward throughout the rest of the season.
It's nice to see these teams finally have some young talent, so we don't have to watch some of these teams just flounder away for years.
Yeah, but let's look at the Titans Seahawks. Ended up being really good game, went to overtime, high scoring. What did you guys think of that game?
Derrick Henry's back in beast mode.
Yeah, and that's, I feel like
35 carries.
I thought he had 41.
No, he had 6 receptions.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
the Seahawks threw that game away.
I know, but 35 carries from a running back is insane.
It is.
Oh yeah.
For 182 and 3 touchdowns. Jeez.
The King
But
is bad.
towards the end of that game, does Pete Carroll call the plays?
No, I don't believe so. They brought in a new offensive coordinator
Because they
calling
lost.
plays.
Somebody, they either got rid of him or just he left.
Yeah, I can't think of who it is, but I know there's a new play caller there in Seattle.
Yeah,
Well, 'cause
they're
Pete
just
Carroll. Pete Carroll's a defensive coach, anyways. That's why I don't think he'd call the plays.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I
But
always forget that about him. But yeah,
yeah, but it's just bad decisions were made on offense, and then allowed the Titans to Derrick Henry to do what he does.
just keep the Titans. The Titans were allowed to just hang around in the game.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
early in that
That's
game,
where
it
I
looked
was
like it was going to be a
getting at.
blowout. I mean, you had Russell Wilson just slinging it all over the field, and the next thing you know, it's just like, kind of what's going on here?
Yep.
Ding
He's
dong.
probably regretting asking for that trade, or not asking. I mean,
Maybe.
AJ Brown looked like poop.
Yeah. It was nice to see kind of Julio step up. I mean, he had that touchdown they called back, but he still made some pretty good catches.
Brown was
Yeah.
making stupid drops.
man, I don't think Julio's gonna lose it overnight. But
Oh no.
I think, but in a team like this, it's more run heavy. You're not gonna see him get games like he just had too often anymore.
And once Derrick Henry does start really getting into, I mean, like we saw with this game, this is perfect for Julio. The play action game will be Julio Jones.
Oh, he will against the Colts.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Next week, the Colts are in trouble.
I mean,
the Titans.
There was times early in that game where it seemed like the Colts were kind of having problems, stopping the run. Just kind of playing a little softer at times, where it seemed like they could just run kind of all over them. I might be mistaken, but that's kind of how it seemed like
Against the Rams?
Yeah.
No, it was the pass they're having trouble with.
But just every time I looked at the Titan or the Colts Rams game, it just seemed like Darrell Henderson was kind of doing whatever he wanted when it came to the running game, but I didn't get to watch
and
the
like
game too close.
In the first quarter, yeah, but he became a non-factor in his. Yeah. Robert Woods had a surprising amount of drop passes, and Cooper Kupp had almost a career game.
Oh yeah, he was going off, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Titans Colts game goes next week. We'll talk about that later in the week, but let's look at the Sunday Night Football game, Ravens Chiefs. That was a pretty good game.
Did it disappoint?
No, it did not.
It was surprising. After Lamar, what was it, the first drive?
First two drives. He threw.
Yeah, first two drives. I was like,
Matthew.
I have him on fantasy. I'm like, I'm going to bed. No, I watched most of it, but I think I fell asleep the last couple minutes, so I didn't see the Lamar do his front flip thing.
Oh yeah, it was. And I'm surprised, with how the taunting calls went throughout the week, that they didn't call that one, because there were some very questionable ones, and then that kind of happens. It just wasn't consistent with how they're doing it. I felt like.
Yeah, like at the Colts.
Go.
It's ridiculous. Like at the Colts game, number 41, I can't think of his name for the Rams linebacker.
Oh yeah, didn't he shove the ref or something?
I couldn't see from my angle, but Pascal got up and was pointing at him. They called him for taunting. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's just
what the heck.
The NFL's getting soft.
It makes you not want to watch it.
Oh yeah, it's
even the players.
It's changing how games are won.
Yeah. That should have been a big penalty for the Rams. I mean, he got ejected still, but since Pascal got a taunting call for pointing at him, it just basically canceled out.
I mean, you can get suspended for touching a ref, Even if you were being nice and putting your hand on his back. If they want to kick you out of the game and suspend you, you're done.
Bears Saints game in the playoffs last year.
Or touching the flag.
Yeah.
Don't touch my flag. in my opinion, it's just like the world we live in now. Too much in their feelings. They're worried about feelings too much. Not like in NFL, not the sport. Let them play.
Yeah, soon they're going to start finding fans.
It's crazy, but that Chiefs Ravens game, I thought it was a pretty fun game to watch. You had these really two good teams, high scoring, and Lamar, other than the 2 interceptions he threw early, was passing really well, I believed.
They're both great coach teams, the way I see it.
I don't like Lamar per se as a typical quarterback, but he's good at what he does. He's not a typical quarterback, so it's
he never
easy
will
to
be.
hate. No, yeah, it's easy to hate him in that aspect because he's frustrating, but
Just
he's
win.
good at what he does.
Do to win.
Yeah.
But that wraps up our Sunday and Thursday of the week 2. We'll talk about the Monday night game next time. But you guys ready to move on to our next segment?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So with those of you who have been here before, we have a Add a Legend little segment where we go through NFL teams past, add a legend who has been there for at least 4 years, has been retired, and we pretty much add them to that team and see, who makes that team better, who gives them a better chance to go to the Super Bowl for most teams.
Right on.
But Cody, let's talk about the Ravens. Who do you think will make the Ravens just that much better?
Well, it gave me I had 2 options. I had Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, and I settled with Ed Reed. That secondary is very beat up. They still play pretty good, but with Ed Reed, he scared. So did Ray Lewis. Don't get me wrong, but Ed Reed scared the hell out of QBs because you couldn't throw in his direction because he'd be right there just to take it right out of receivers' hands or knock them out. That whole era defense was a whole freight train. It's ridiculous. So Ed Reed in that secondary, holy crap! They probably are going to the Super Bowl.
I mean, I actually went basing it off just what Jeff said to start. Who would take them further? I was gonna pick Ed Reed. I actually just switched. I'm gonna go Jamal Lewis. I think he would help them in the run game, and not that they have a bad run game, but he would step their offense up that much.
I mean I never really think about the Jamal Lewis one, but that's an interesting one. I mean, that's a 2,000 yard rusher.
He had 6 or 7 good years with them, so.
Yeah. And I mean, put him in a run heavy team too.
He could catch too.
Yeah, he would make that offense very interesting. Him and Lamar and all their other running backs. That's an interesting one. But the way I kind of see it is, if you want to go and win a Super Bowl, you need yourself a killer.
Oh,
and
God.
There is no one that is more of a killer on and off the field when it comes to NFL players than Ray Lewis.
I like what you did there.
He was for so many years the heart and soul of that defense.
I wonder when his book comes out. He
would
did
be
it.
the first to read it.
He's past the statute of limitations now.
Oh yeah, but he's.
Yeah,
I like. He's a presence, but I still think I've always thought he was a liability in coverage. That's me. I mean, he'll knock the crap out of you come across the middle of the field. Like, you might be knocked out of the game. But
brain dead, yeah.
I don't think he was never like a ball hawking linebacker. Not what he was known for. He didn't have to be because he had people like Ed Reed who do the ball hawking for him.
Yeah, he's intimidating as hell though, so QBs would like be pissing their pants and.
I wouldn't want to
Okay.
catch a ball across the middle. To be fair, doesn't matter if I
No.
made $20 million. I wouldn't want to catch it with him there.
Oh no, I wouldn't even want to go up and block him, or he'd be 20
Please
feet
don't
near.
kill me.
He is definitely someone that the Ravens have right now. Just that adds a step to that defense. Him, and then, I mean, they have Patrick Queen there too, who's, linebacker.
He's coming along nice.
Yeah, he's coming along nice. So pairing him with Lewis, even with some of that secondary troubles, I feel like having Ray would
Well,
make that team.
what was it? Eli Manning's rookie year, they played the Ravens.
yeah.
This team, and he had one of the worst QB ratings of all time against
0.
them. Yeah.
Which is actually almost impossible. Like, you can go 0 for like 50 and still have a better rating than that.
It's Eli Manning.
Yeah.
What do you want? You know?
Oh God, don't kill me.
But that was our I Legend segment. We're going to continue doing that. Hopefully, by the end of it, we'll have one team that's just so good, they're going to win. They'll win this metaphorical I Legend Super Bowl. But,
Well, the Ravens could.
oh yeah, I mean, right now that's definitely the best one so far. But it's only been 3 teams. We'll see how the rest go. There's going to be some really good teams, but I mean that's all I have for you guys. Make sure to find us on social media: Instagram, Audible Sportscast; Twitter, Audible SC. Join our Facebook group at Audible Sportscast.
Yep. Like and subscribe on all the services: YouTube, Apple Podcast, Amazon. It's all on there. It'll be set.
A little birdie is telling me there might be a Spotify edition here in the next coming days, so be on the lookout
That's
for
pretty
that.
awesome.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But oh yeah, and if go to any of those places, comment, DM us if you ever want to be on, talk some football, some debates. If there's another sport you want to talk about, we might not know it well, but we'll sure give you a good time to talk.
Challenge us.
Oh yeah. But,
Call Jeffrey stupid.
oh, I hear it. I want to hear more people hear it. So, but that's all we have. Thanks again, Brett, for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Anytime. But y'all have a good one.
See you
I'll
later.
see you.